This tutorial is mainly about kind of improving the visibility of your final outcome from Unity a little bit better. But if you want to really graphically improve it, you should actually dive into different render pipeline, which I'm not going to cover that, and I'm not expert of that, but we can definitely improve that along with your development. But this is going to be about simple development, improvement of your graphics using something called processing, post-processing stack. We are not changing the rendering pipeline today. So you all know now by now the difference between the game scene and the scene view and game view, right? So this is actually what you are going to see from the game. And this you are seeing from the main camera's perspective. So this main camera is positioned somewhere there, all right? And if you wanna, so this is your viewport view. It's not a camera. And this is a view from a camera perspective. So what normally I will do is I set my view from here. That's much more easier for me to navigate. And then I can align anything to my view. Yeah, so it's kind of reacting to Jose's question of camera also a little bit. So you navigate to where you want to see, yeah, and then you should select the camera that you want to select, you want to see through, and then you have to go to game object and align with view, or Control Shift F. If you say that, your game scene is aligning to your viewport. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what your scene will start from. Okay, so my camera is now positioned there. There's also this thing where you can actually turn on and off the icons of things that are invisible. You can also change the size of the icon. All right. So your directional light, this light doesn't matter where it is. It's a global direction. So it doesn't matter if it's up there or here. It only affects the rotation of this lighting. You see the shadows are changing. So that's how you can change your settings. Okay, so this was from our last tutorial where we can actually generate this city of different towers. What if you actually want to bake these geometries after you have it all instantiated from a script, but when you close it, it's gone, isn't it? So it's really simple. Once you have them instantiated, just pause it. If they're moving, just pause and then just select all of this. It's selected. And just Control C, copy it, close your game, Control V. So easy. Yeah. So that's how you can actually bake your geometries, and after that you can manually just delete few things, move things around. You can even export this as OBJ to Rhino. So you can actually do that by importing a plugin, which I will also show you in a bit. Okay, so what if we have our city generated? Okay. And maybe I want to change the material of my cities and all of these to be something like, I want to apply some pinkish material to all of these. I have a material called pink, so I just drag it. Oh, that's a very bad pink. Okay. You can also change the color here. That looks much better. You can also customize the shaders to have like different kinds of reflections and everything. There are so many tutorials on that. And then I'm going to reset my scene. My camera to be positioned aligned again by Control Shift F again. Okay, this looks good. And the sky, I really don't like this sky. What do you do with that? So you can actually change the sky by, we are going to make a material here and just create a generic material called sky. And then we are going to change the shader from skybox to cube matte. And let's change this color to something that you feel like for now. And then you go to your camera, not your camera, you go to your world render lighting settings, and you are dragging your sky to this camera sky. So you can just by changing this color to adjust the color of the sky. But this is just a single colored sky. There are lots of ways to kind of improve that as well. So for now, let's say that's something that you like. And then one thing you can do is you can start to add this thing called post-processing stack. But before that, what we are going to do is we go back to our render. So I will leave this here. This will change together. Also, if you want to change the ratio to your device, specific device, you can change it from free aspect, and or you can add your own screen ratio here. If you want to develop something for your phone, this is also a view you can actually use. So 1920 by 1080 is a good ratio for all our videos will be in that format. We want to go to our build settings and player settings. And here we want to change this color space from gamma to linear. So this will take some time to change. This will change the look of the colors a little bit after you change this. Yeah, it will look a little bit different. But we should change it to linear lighting setting. Let me bring this one up and put it here. Normally you want to have this ready here so you can kind of check things back and forth. We have our illumination, tick auto generate. auto generate and generated the lighting settings. And you can also try to add some fog. So this is something also quite nice. You can maybe try something like that and change the density of the fog. This is like a little bit like depth map. So it gives you a fog. So whatever is further, it gives you the fog, and you can change the color. Okay. I guess something like that for now. Oh, if you change the linear, you can actually change the position of this as well. Okay, so and then we can import the post-processing now. So if you go to package manager, there are lots of different libraries you can use. And what we are going to import is something called post-processing. It's a layer that you add to your camera. So you can actually search it from here, say post-processing. And there are different versions. I will just try with this suggested latest version. Click on it and say install. It's gonna take a few minutes to install the package here. So in main camera, we should change the layer. We should make a layer, add layer called post-processing. Just by doing this, we just created a layer. Go back to your main camera and put this camera into post-processing layer. Okay. And then in this add component, now after you imported it, it's going to allow you to add post-processing layer. So in this layer, you are going to change the layer to post-processing. And that's it for the layer. And now we are going to add component and post-processing volume. And apply as global for now. And then now from here onwards, you can add, you can play with it really a lot. So from here, say add component, not add component, add profile. And say new, you created a new profile. And then in this profile, you can add effects. So let's go back to the main camera. After you edit profile, this button appears now. So you can add effect, and these are the effects that are the filter for camera. So for example, this bloom is pretty interesting. Just add effect and tick all of this and start to play with it. So bloom is like giving you some illumination. So if you see that how this is actually blooming, starting to bloom, you see that? So you watch here in the game scene. It also affects this scene view as well, but eventually this is what you are exporting, right? You can also change different parameters, but I'm going to just leave it here. You can just try all these different things and add effect. So bloom, I feel like it's a little bit too much of bloom effect. And then maybe you can also add maybe, you can try all of this, yeah, vignette maybe, and mode, color, you can add some color for vignette, and for So Vignette creates like this kind of frame, a focus frame. So you can also add that kind of things. It's really up to you to improve this however you want. Let me add something like this. Intensity and center. You can also, if you change the intensity, you can see that how the center can be also changed, right? So on there, you can also add effects, ambient occlusion. This is giving you some shadows, like harder shadows. I don't really know exactly what they are, I'm just trying and playing around just to see what gives me better result. Okay, this looks better for me. And then depth of field. That was similar to fog, maybe, but this will actually change the focal distance. So you know when you so you can see that the focal distance will actually change. I'm going to focus to my person. The aperture can be like that. So all the things are far, they are defocused or something like that. This is also a pretty interesting feature. So all of these are camera filter. It's nothing to do with actual geometry. So you can really play with it. And I hope you can just play with all of this and see what you really like. What is grain? Don't think I've ever used it. It's making it grainy. Okay. Lens distortion. It's distorting lenses. Okay, that's also interesting. Yeah, something like that. And when I think I'm ready to export this, I'm pretty happy with the result. Maybe a little bit more blue, maybe to make things a little bit brighter. Okay. And now what you need is you need to let the camera to be at least movable, isn't it? So because now if I play this, I'm going to also turn off the generative city because I already baked it. I'm going to play, but what's happening? Because I have my city generated again, I think. I'm going to turn this off. See, why? Terrain mesh. Oh, I had a script here, so I shouldn't have a script here. So I should remove this one. So this one is just the baked version, the pink ones. Okay, so if I play now, even if I move and rotate, it doesn't do anything. So I need the simple camera controller, of course. So go back to our assets folder. In our script, you have this camera controller. You wanna add that to our main camera. And now if you play, you can rotate and move with my mouse. You can rotate, you can move with your key. That's pretty good. All right. Okay, once you have this, you can actually export this as a game. So you can actually play it in, you can actually bake this. So how do you build this? You have to go to build settings. And because you have a lot of different scenes, you have to specify which scene you want to bake. You are going to bake this scene. So say add open scene. So this is adding the terrain color scene. There are lots of different modules. You might not have all of them. Don't worry. The thing we need is PC version. You can actually export this to Android. You can export to your iPhone. But we are going to bake a PC version. Okay, so before we export this, I think we don't need anything to change, but maybe just to make sure, I'm going to change this company name to a unique name. Just change to your full name and save it. I don't think you need to change anything, but let's see if this gives me any error, then I can change. So say build, and I'm going to make a folder. So builds, and inside this select the folder and wait a moment. How are you surviving? Okay, didn't error. Hmm?
We're trying our best.
Great, great. Hang in there. Okay, so this is generated. So in this folder, there are several folders and files generated. This is not an installation files. So if you want this to be like a proper installation file, you need a third-party thing to actually package this into one file, single file, to send to your friend to install it and use it. But this one you don't really need to install. You can just double click on this exe file to launch it. So when you play this, I can actually move my mouse and move it and interact with it. And if I cannot close it or I cannot quit the game, I just did exe to quit the game. But normally you need to go here and quit the game. Yeah, but it by default it allowed me to quit with exe, but because we don't have quit game button, so if you want to share this with your friend, you have to share this entire folder, and your friend can just double click on this exe file to launch it. If you are interested in packaging your application into a installation file, this is what you need, called JR software, and you can follow the instruction from this website, or you can watch the tutorial from this YouTube channel.